Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. As America's 250th birthday nears, as a heat wave bears down on much of the country, powered by climate change, and the price of gas still hovers around $4 a gallon, Donald Trump, well, he's playing with his favorite new toy, taking a maiden voyage on his new Air Force One. You know, the 747 he accepted from the Qatari government in just flagrant open violation of the Constitution, which bars foreign gifts like this. And that's not a small trinket. That's the plane with the new paint scheme so reminiscent of the old Trump Organization aircraft.
So this was a gift from a country that's treated us very well. And they're an ally of us over in the Middle East, Qatar. And I went to Boeing. I said, "Who has the best one?" They said, "Qatar. There's never been a plane like it." So I said, "I'd like to use it." And the Emir Tamim, who's a great gentleman, he said, "No, I'd like to make a contribution to the country."
You'll be shocked to hear that that's not exactly how it all went down. That it's not just a free gift to the country. First of all, the Qataris tried to sell it for years. No one would buy it. And then, of course, there's the $934 million, almost $1 billion of your money it appears to have taken for the U.S. government to make the foreign-owned jet suitable for presidential travel. So it cost $1 billion. Also, except for the fact it's not for future presidents. According to Trump himself, the jet will be transferred to the yet-to-be-created Trump Presidential Library after he leaves office in 2029. Also, it was not a gift. Multiple outlets reported at the time that Trump asked Qatar for the plane, which you see there as Trump poses in front of it. As we just learned from Regime Change, the new book on Trump's second term by New York Times reporters Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan, at some point after Qatar agreed to give Trump the plane, it was announced the aircraft would be a gift, an idea that a senior official would say was generated at the POTUS level. So he kind of just took the plane and then charged you $1 billion for it, money that could have gone to, like, I don't know, healthcare premiums, and then he's going to keep it after he's done? I mean, at this point, the corruption is so frequent and so brazen that he's shoving our faces in it. I think he's sort of delighting in the transgressive thrill of it all. I'm not just talking about his vanity projects like the ballroom and the flecting pool and the arch, the weird passport, which he appears to think doesn't go to citizens but to immigrants, the restoration of Washington's fountains, even though a new Washington Post analysis finds that for the past 3 months, Trump has talked about those projects more than he's talked about health care and wages. That stuff's just the tip of the iceberg. On Tuesday, reporters gained access to nearly 1,000 pages of new financial disclosure forms showing that Trump's reported income soared to more than $2.2 billion last year, as he took in more than $1.4 billion from crypto and digital schemes alone. In fact, according to a Reuters investigation, Trump and his sons have added at least $2.3 billion to the family fortune from their main crypto ventures, while the investors they've wooed have lost a near identical amount. Think about that. While the investors they wooed lost the same amount. In other words, a direct transfer of $2.3 billion from those folks out there into the pockets of the president and his family. In response, a White House spokesperson said, all actions by President Trump and his administration are taken in the best interest of the American people. Again, they're playing in our faces, right? Sure. Those aren't investors. Those are benefactors. The President of the United States says that's his business, not yours.
Mr. President, your financial disclosure shows you had a very lucrative year last year. What message does this send to average Americans, especially those who may be struggling right now financially?
I don't get involved in my personal. We have funds that run my money.
But you are benefiting.
I never speak to any of the people that run the money, but they're at big institutions, and they invest in whatever they invest.
But to critics who say you're profiting off the presidency, Mr.
Well, you know why I'm profiting? Because the stock market's going up. Everybody's profiting. If you have a 401k, how's your 401k done? It's about up 85%. Thank you, President Trump. So we're all profiting. I'm profiting because I have a lot of money and a lot of cash.
Now, again, this is all, I think, basically intentional. He likes sort of flagrantly violating. While he's saying that he has nothing to do with the stock trades, his sons, who oversee the portfolio, are right in the shot, and they're going to fly the plane with him, right? Also, the $2.3 billion, the main source of the guy's revenue this year wasn't the stock market. It was the crypto schemes. But again, he doesn't care how any of this looks. As he said in a January interview about his son's many conflicts of interest, I prohibited them from doing business in my first term, and I got absolutely no credit for it, Trump said. It's not really true, by the way. I didn't have to do that, and it's really unfair to them. He added, quote, I found out that nobody cared, and I'm allowed to. In fact, over the weekend, the New York Times reported on a $1 billion mining deal that Trump and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick closed with Kazakhstan, in which, oh, surprise, contracts are going to businesses with ties to both men's sons. So the Lutnick boys and the Trump boys are going to make a mint off of this deal, negotiated by the president and the Commerce Secretary. In fact, the Times found that Trump and Lutnick families have financial ties to at least 14 companies that are actively working with the federal government on critical mining deals. We're just talking about the mining portfolio, including the Kazakhstan project. We're not even talking about the weird drone company and the other federal contracts at DOD that Don Jr. and Eric are running around trying to get. The White House and the Commerce Department reject any suggestion the Trump administration was improperly mixing government actions with family business. On Tuesday, the Washington Post reported that Donald Trump's beloved White House ballroom was being built under, oh, look at this, a secret $500 million no-bid contract similar to the ones the administration doled out for the botched reflecting pool job, which, by the way, let's hope this one goes better. White House officials said that they could award the no-bid contract by routing it through the executive residence, which is not bound by competitive bidding requirements. Also on Tuesday, The Atlantic reported on a new White House effort to grant pardons that are tied to the 250th birthday celebrations, setting off a kind of bidding war for clemency. One prominent white-collar defense attorney told the magazine, quote, it is general knowledge in our practice that for $2 million you can have a pardon. The clients come to us and tell us, I've been told I need to go hire this specific person, and then I will get a pardon. Is the White House selling pardons? I mean, it sounds like it. I don't know. This is the whole game for Donald Trump now. As those reporters, Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan, suggest throughout regime change, U.S. policy is dictated by whoever appeals most directly to Trump and his vanity. Now a CEO can simply ask for something and it was granted, they write. He would reportedly dictate exact dollar figures to extract from each CEO, and within days, millions of dollars and then tens and hundreds of millions were pouring into Trump's various fundraising accounts. And according to the White House, all this is what Trump voters wanted.
The story this week, too, about his sons making money off a deal in Kazakhstan. What's the White House's position on all these questions?
Well, I think the president said it best. And let's remember, Bill, why Americans elected this president to office, because he was an outsider who was tremendously successful in business, built the New York City skyline. And that's what Americans wanted. They wanted a businessman in office.
Oh, yes, the kind of outsider who is the president of the country and negotiates mining deals so his sons can make money off it. That kind of outsider. Suck it up. This is what a great businessman looks like, right? That's the White House's message to Americans who are struggling in their daily lives, looking up at this guy and his family swimming like Scrooge McDuck in a sea of corruption and greed that is quite literally unprecedented in American history.